Hi there. Welcome back to Tarot by Janine. How's everybody doing? I woke up really early at 5:21 to be exact a.m. I was being contacted by a spirit, an energy, a passed on energy that was in WW2. So what I knew when I woke up was I needed to channel for my audience this soul. Now, they were in the French army, so I'm not exactly sure, what regiment or anything. That wasn't said. He says he's in an unmarked grave, and he had a message for humanity, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what his message is going to be. It could be more personal than that. I'm not sure. So I agreed to do that as long as we channeled through divine source, which is important. And I did some smudging and made sure I was really clear so I get his message. So I'm going to channel this fellow. His name is Luc. I hope I said that right. He's French. So he told me his name. He told me he was in World War II. That's all I know. But I got a really good feeling about his energy. And I also requested that all the channeling comes through divine source. So that's what we're doing. We're going to look at what exactly does this fellow want to relay to us? What kind of message from the other side does he want to speak? So we'll start with that. That's a lot of major arcanas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcanas. Unbelievable. In a 7-card layout. That's a lot of clout. Okay, so some really big message here. I'll start with the impression. So I get impressions when I'm channeling someone in particular. I get the impression that he really was excited to sign up to be in WW2. So he was very excited to sign up. Now, he's saying that what he didn't know was that a big background that wasn't being told or wasn't known to people was that what I'm calling the dark cult was largely at play in WW2. Okay, so what he didn't know in his naivety and human form on the earth plane was that it wasn't anything about what it was presented. So it was presented a certain way, but it was not that wasn't really what was going on. So, and I'm also he's saying that all are played out. All of these situations are played out. And they're really just a dark cult against the world. So it's really all are started by what we call what I've been calling on this channel, the dark cult. So you can add the proper words to that in your head. You know what I'm talking about, right? And also that he was excited to sign up. People were trying to stop him, likely his parents. He didn't say that, but I'm getting that there was a lot of conflict around him going into this or signing up for this. He was just a young man, he says. He was 21. And we've got the Hanged Man. So he was captured, actually, it looks like. So he was held for a while before. So it was a long, slow, unfortunate passing over. We've got the Fool. He had no idea going in. Everything about what they told people that was going on was a lie. So we've got the Magician. So he's very clear about that. He'd already figured that out by the time he was captured. So he'd already figured out that the whole thing was built on, the whole thing that was being told to humans at the time was not the truth. And there was a whole other agenda going on. So let's see further into this here. That's my good warrior card. So he must have been an air sign because that's just popping out. So that's going to be his archetype. I'd say that's his archetype. So he's an air sign warrior, young man, air sign warrior. Okay, so he's saying that all players on all sides were working for the dark cult at the highest levels. So the whole thing was a facade that they were fighting each other. That part was not true. They were using the various sides to appear to be fighting against each other. But they were not. In fact, in the background, the highest levels were all the dark cult or deep state. So, whoa. Also, he's saying the justice was not done. So if you believe what happened in the trials that followed, that a lot of the players, the really big players, were safely taken somewhere else in the world. So that sounds like a lot of theories we've batted around. And lots of people kind of seem to know this by now. Wow. Yeah. Justice was not done, he says. And that's why it really needs to be done in this situation. There were some people involved doing things for the good of humanity, but they were largely outnumbered. Not to say there weren't some good energies involved, thinking they were trying to do good. We've got the Ace of Cups, but when they discovered what was really going on, they stepped away. And we've got the Wheel of Fortune. And it went totally in different ways than anyone expected. Things were being fought on many levels, just like they are today. So there was all kinds of levels going on. And it was really what was going on in the background that was had far more clout than what we perceive to be happening or what we're told happened. So now that he's on the other side, he has this big perspective. But nobody was aware of that. Just regular soldiers, they were not aware. They were left right out of the loop. This was at the highest levels. So there were a few good people involved in the highest levels, but far outnumbered by the bad people. And it looks like none of the sides were defined. There was good and evil on all the sides, he says. Whew. Let's see what else. I'm just going to keep laying down cards and see what he wants to say. This group that was at the root of the WW1 and the WW2. This group is slowly, okay, that's good to know, because a lot of people are starting to get discouraged and wondering, if that's the case. So we've got justice in the past. So we've already started justice being served. So what wasn't served and what didn't serve as justice, those people are now meeting justice. So we've got the 5. There's still some hiccups and bumps in the road to come. Your best advice is to find a personal way that you can express yourself in freedom, and avoid mainstream propaganda. He says propaganda. Turn your back on and trust that this energy, this evil that we've been all having to deal with throughout, thousands of years and all the wars. Trust that. Turn your back on their energy. So don't get involved in fear. Okay, that makes sense. Their biggest is fear, and turn your back on it. He's saying, turn your back and go find a place in your mind where you can visualize a future that isn't the destitute future, because they want you to help them manifest that. It's what they do, he says. Your mind and heart will keep you safe. So your energy, intention, mind, and heart. That's the best way to stay safe. It's all about where your energy is. If you don't give them your energy, they can't win. The whole world bought into the energy in WW2. And that's why it went the way it did, he says. So yes, many, many people met their end. He's not disputing that. That was absolutely true. But he's saying that everybody was in on it, not just one group. Wow. And that it created this focus that fed the dark entities and made them stronger. So, wow. So in other words, it looks like, good did not win WW2. He's saying actually evil won. In its own way, evil won. Wow. Whew. So he's saying while things were happening in WW2, really evil things were going on, as bad as what appeared to be going on. So there was all kinds of things being, I feel like we're talking manipulation of the human race. I'm getting some kind of, and it's carried on since then. There's a manipulation. So it was a big, so the whole thing was, and carried on the manipulation of the human race through, I want to say programming, but was happening in the meantime in the background here, and then was carried on. It never stopped, and it's been carrying on. So they accumulated all kinds of information, and the work has been carrying on. They practiced a lot of the manipulation and programming in first the WW1 and the WW2. So I'm going to ask what Luke is wanting to leave us with. So he's saying one of the biggest manipulators is your emotions. So the biggest way they gain power is your feelings and emotions. Stress levels, feelings, emotions. It's really important because you're giving them power when you're feeling personally defeated, destitute. So they've created ways in your culture to exaggerate and create more and more of that. So everything they do, and they've been doing, manipulating, is to create the idea that everybody's separate, everybody's against each other. So working on personal self-esteem and everybody individually pulling in on themselves through individual personal work. So if everybody worked on and focused on finding their own personal vision of the world they want and focused on that emotionally at least some of your day, that would really go a long way to finishing what's looks like it's a long way to really routing these guys out once and for all with that tower in the background. But there's still some work to do, and it's more individual. It's on individual people. So the work lies with us to individually heal our lives, personally find a good spot to be in your mind and emotions, at least part of the day, he's saying. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching my video. And thank you, Luke, for sharing that information with us. And do like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already.